Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar Toradex Quality, now on SMARC. My name is Pedro and I'm a product manager at Toradex. And before we dive into the webinar, let me just cover a few points with you. Please use the chat window of the webinar tool if you have any technical issues and wish to let us know. At the end, we will do an interactive question and answer session. So please type your question in the chat window anytime. We'll pick them up by the end. The webinar also will be recorded and made available on demand viewing. And with that, let's get started. So here with me, I have Tim Jensen, VP of Product and Technology. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you so much, Pedro, and thank you everyone for listening in with us today. So I'm going to kick this off. We're going to talk a little bit about Toradex very quickly. Who are we? What are we doing? What is SMARC and how is our entry into the SMARC ecosystem? And then Pedro is going to take over and take you into the SMARC modules that we are coming out with, how to look at SMARC. Is it for you? Is it not? And then also some deep dives into some of the technical details. So that's what we're going to cover in the next small hour here. It's, as I said, a pleasure to be here, having the chance to talk to you. And with that, let's get started. So Pedro. So first, what does Toradex do? So we do system on modules based on ARM. That's what we've been doing for at least the last 25 years or 20 years. We're Swiss. We have a slogan that is embedded computing make easy, and that is really at the core of everything we're trying to do. Whether that's in terms of usability of our product, whether it's our documentation, our support, the way we handle our long-term maintenance of our software stack and of the product, and also all of our community access and the way that we handle all of that. So in general, our key focus is how do we make it easy for you, our customers of our products. Talking about our software stack, it's partly what we call our Toradex stack, which is our Toradex OS. Our Toradex OS is a Yocto-based Linux that we are running, optimized for our product and optimized for the rest of our stack in terms of our connectivity to the cloud, our OTA client that enables secure update, which is something we're going to talk a little bit about, some more details about when we come to CRA a little later. Our development tools, we have a bunch of development tools that Pedro is going to talk more about, and especially the long-term maintenance of our full software stack is something that gives a lot of ease of use for our customers out in the field. And then that's the next one, ease of use, our ecosystem. We have a bunch of partners that we're working with that we're also going to talk a little bit more about. So Swiss quality, think of it as a Swiss watch. You get very high level quality at a competitive price, so you reach the best cost of ownership. Next one, please. So if we look at our device portfolio, some of you who know Toradex know that we have been so far working on proprietary modules. Why have we done that? Because we always have believed that this is the best way to get the utmost out of the individual socks that we are putting onto the boards. This is still true, and we still have fully optimized families like our Wordin family for the mid to low end, and our new Aquila family, which is intended for high-end ARM compute and NPU performance, up in a range where we start competing with solutions like NVIDIA and Qualcomm. This is our proprietary form factors that are fully optimized, but we do see that a lot of customers have a need for compatibility, a need for second source and open standards, and for that reason we have decided to move into the SMARC ecosystem with our first two new products on SMARC. Next one, please. So SMARC, some of you might know it. We're going to see a little bit later, but it's an open standard by the ESCAT. It has achieved tremendous popularity in the embedded market over the last 5 years, and today is one of the leading form factors in the ARM ecosystem. Proprietary form factors are still larger, but the biggest open standard is really SMARC today. It's available from many multiple vendors, and that's one of the big advantages, as I talked about, the compatibility and the second source opportunity. Especially after the supply chain crisis, we have seen an increased request for that second source capability, and that's one of the real winning arguments for SMARC. Is it optimal in all layouts? Not for everything, because it is a combination for both ARM and x86, and that means that it's not fully optimized for ARM, and that's where there is some sacrifices, and that's also something that Pedro is going to talk about later. But really, the driving argument is the second source capabilities. With that, moving on to the next one. So really, Toradex quality on SMARC is the headline of this webinar. So those of you who work with Toradex, hopefully you know our renowned low cost of ownership and our robust quality and the things that I talked about earlier on. We're really taking this onto SMARC. So we are doing exactly what we're doing on our other products. We are doing exactly the same now for SMARC. So you can expect the same. You can get the same software stack, you can expect the same services around it, the same support, the same community support that we have today, the same strong focus on the software side on upstream software. So we are really committed to the open source community because we do believe it's the right way for everyone. And it's something that also differs us a bit from a lot of the competition in that we believe that together we are stronger. And that's really something that that helps us, our customers, and everyone in the partner network. One of the things that today is getting more and more a discussion topic. So the embedded business is, to most extent, pretty conservative. If you asked 5 years back, most customers say, no, we don't want to be connected. We want to be left alone. Today, you really don't have a choice if you want to follow, for example, the EU Cyber Resilience Act. I know for US, this is not the case, but there's some similar regulations in US as well. And it is something that is going to drive the market in the coming years as we see it. So we have decided to be fully compliant with CRA and to help our customers on, again, an easy journey being compatible with CRA. So let's talk a little bit about that. Thank you. So what is the EU Cyber Resilience Act? It is really an act that specifies that anybody who places a product in the market needs to make sure that it cannot be exploited for security vulnerabilities. There are certain time periods from a identified vulnerability until you need to have a mitigation and you need to have a plan. And if you do not comply to this as a manufacturer of your OEM equipment, but also as some vendor, then you will be able to have some pretty hefty fines from the EU. This is something which was ratified end of last year. It's coming into full play 3 years down the line, so end of 2027. But now is the time to start planning that. We all know that many embedded projects takes 1-2 years in the development and until full mass production, and then we're getting awfully close to 2027. So what is it really, and where does our Horizon software stack help? Well, there's different things that you need to address with CRA. You need to have an SBOM. So what is an SBOM? It's a software bill of material. So you need to be able to describe for your product what is the software components and how are they affected by security vulnerabilities. You need to make sure that you are monitoring the vulnerability. So when you see something that is a vulnerability, you need to address it. You need to assess whether this is relevant for your product, and then you need to implement corrective changes. How do you do that? Well, you need to update. For most people today, that would mean an over-the-air update. And that's something that is fully supported also by our Horizon stack with secure remote updates. So we are secure by default. We have secure boot. We have all the security to make sure that we can securely download an image to the system, deploy it, and make sure we are secure in the whole process there. So that is something that is already there with our Horizon stack. We are there to help customers with our products on that. So this is a bit of a sidetrack talking about SMARC, but it is one of the qualities that we have as Toradex, as that we already have all of this ready. So with that, I'm going to move on to you, Pedro. That's going to take us into more details on SMARC itself. So go ahead, Pedro.
Okay. So
I'll try not to disturb you too much.
No issues, team. I'm just launching a poll right now. So basically, we want to know where are you in your SMARC journey. So if you're already using SMARC but seeking new supplier, if you're already using or just evaluating, maybe in production, or if you're not using SMARC, but if you're planning to use next products or something like that. So this is important for us because we can tailor a bit this presentation. We can give more details on migration, maybe. Maybe we can tune and put more light on new projects. That's the type of thing we are interested in. Let's see how it goes. I think we have half of voters. Let's give a bit more time.
Yeah, we're slowly getting there. I think it would be good to get a few more percent. So a few more seconds, if people could have a chance to vote, that would be good. Okay, Pedro, maybe we close it here and then we move ahead.
Yep, for sure. Let's see the results. That is interesting. So we have 38%, around 38% not using SMARC but planning to use. So this is important. This is nice for to show some starter, like what we help you on the starting of the project. This is interesting. So let's.
Yeah, but there's also, I see 15% that are using SMARC but looking for new supplier. So you found it. So, but let's let Pedro convince you of that.
Yeah, I'll do my best. Let's go. So let me introduce you officially these our new two modules from SMARC new modules. So this is the SMARC i.MX 8M Plus. This is our latest SMARC 2.1.1 standard implementation. It is compatible actually with 2.2, but since the majority of the projects are coming with 2.1.1, we are making this effort and adding this information in there. So this is a well-known module from i.MX. It's i.MX 8M Plus application processor. This is a quad-core, quad A53 running at 1.8 gigs. It also includes the Cortex-M core for handling real-time tasks. This makes this module like powerful, versatile options for several applications. But one thing that I really like to highlight is what sets this module apart is the dedicated NPU. So we have 2.3 TOPS in this module. This allows on-device AI and machine learning. We see a trend on AI, of course, but also on embedded systems for AI. This is really up to tasks like object detection, speech recognition, without relying on the cloud. If you don't need to do a lot of transit of data, you don't have a big throughput of data, so this is really important for you. It also comes with an integrated ISP, also for vision applications, but it's important to highlight one more time about the LTS supported Linux software stack that comes with the Horizon already tested, already ready to use. I put the link in there, but it's quite easy for you to find if you need more details. Also, please come to us if you need to talk or need have any questions on that. This is on the link on our website. Okay.
So Pedro, You're telling me, so even though the 8M Plus is a little bit of, it's not a new processor from NXP, so you still see there's a market for this one, and you're still seeing new designs. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct. It's a well-known chip from NXP. It has a good balance on its features, and we see a lot of trend in this one. We also have that in other families like Verdin. I will take that into the next slides, but it's good options for SMARC as well. And we also have a little bit of configurations, like more configurations in that team. Here we are launching the red square one. That's the one that we are launching. Right now it balances a good performance, good set of features and availability. It's a great starting point for several types of projects, big range of applications. But it's important to say that we do have other configurations. They are based on, this case, on the i.MX 8M Plus and the Quad and the Quad Lite. But you do have options to do what we call configuration to order. It's customization to order. Basically, this allows you to get, for example, I don't know, like I want 1 gig of RAM, but 32 gigs of eMMC without Wi-Fi or with Wi-Fi. So this is to accommodate several types of configurations and requirements from our customers. So if those configurations, the red one that is already available, the other columns that will be available soon, if those kind of are not suitable for you, it's not a problem. We can, please let's talk, and we maybe have a suitable for you, right? And the second module on the SMARC family, it's using the i.MX 95, also based on the SMARC 2.1.1 standard. This module, it features a powerful 6 cores. We're talking about A55 now, running at 1.8 gigs. This has a dual core and processor for real-time applications. Any type of application that's it's a little bit more demanding on real-time things, this is a good call. And one of the big upgrades, I could say, it's gonna be this NPU. So we are talking 2 times better performance versus the i.MX 8M Plus. So this is some internal testings that we are performing, and we could safely say 2 times better than that. Also point out that this i.MX 95 comes with enhanced functional safety. So it's perfect for like mission critical applications, and also with our LTS Linux software stack. Again, go on, team.
Yeah, I was just thinking, so there's, as far as I understand, there's 2 different versions of the 9.5 chip. There's 2 different sizes, a 15 by 15 and a 19 by 19. So what's really the difference, and which one are we using on this product?
This one is the 19 by 19, and we do have some feature differences. So you expect, I think there is one of the Ethernets, I think it's 10 gigabits on the 19 by 19. 2.5 gigabits, but basically the difference is you can expect some differences in interfaces, but they will be quite described in the some interfaces and specs. So basically, when you're gonna search for those, it's quite easy to spot and try to get the best offer for you.
But really, the biggest differentiator is the 10 gig Ethernet, as I see it, right?
Yep, I would say so.
Cool, interesting.
Yep. So also on the i.MX 95, we do have the same configurations as I said for the i.MX 8. We have a first one that we are launching right now. This is the 8 gigs, 6 cores, 8 gigs of RAM and 32 of eMMC. But we do have other options, not just on RAM and eMMC. I would say that for i.MX 95, as I will explain a little bit in the next slides, There are some things on the SMARC family, that SMARC spec, that we have to comply. So we have to do some compromises here and there. And in this case, i.MX 95, he has more features in the SOC than we could just extern, right? So put outside the modules. So in this case, you can see that on line 4, I guess, the display interfaces here. So some of the options on displays, they are different. So basically, you have to choose the options that is better suited for you. I will also show an easy way for you to get all these possibilities according to that by the end of this presentation. But also all the CTOs, they apply. So if you have need for DSI or not DSI, you prefer LVDS or prefer DisplayPort or something, and if this is not an off-the-shelf option for you, we could certainly provide that as a configuration to order. And one of the things I was just mentioning about having these trade-offs, and since there are some people that are not actually using right now, but they are starting to use, I think it's worth mentioning for those who are starting their project, worth taking a look into the other Toradex families. Team already started on those, kind of giving a overview of those families, because while SMARC is quite optimized for a wider range of SOCs, they are optimized for compatibilities. We do have other families that can be better in cost and reduced size. And we know that cost and size are quite important in embedded systems. So I'll do just a quick drift from SMARC to talk about these Toradex families and do a short comparison. So you can choose what's the best for you in any case. So I just choosing just as an example, we are putting this i.MX 95. That's quite the same SOC. We have that in Verdin family, Aquila family, and SMARC family. So you can see that even considering the same SoC, you can have different pin counts. You're gonna have different type of interfaces that are available for you. And you can see that since SMARC has a lot of x86 interfaces, some interfaces are quite dedicated for that. So you're gonna see more interfaces like USB, PCI, and less interfaces like more like PWM, GPIO, CAN, and other interfaces that we can explore a bit more in these other families. So these are not bad things about one or another. It's more like what's suitable for you. What can you put in your product, on your project, and these will be like the best use for every dollar you put in that. Okay. Together with these interfaces and the pinout, what everything you can use or you cannot use, one thing that is quite a trade-off and worth mention here is the size. So we do have, I'm not sure if you can see my screen, but we do have this small family that's called Verdin. In the previous one, I was sharing this i.MX 95 that we have in that, but also you can see that this SMARC is a bit bigger. So you can have that. So in every possible scenario, these will be bigger, although you don't have more performance in the same areas, right? So our next family, not our highest performance family, it's going to be Aquila, and basically this SMARC is almost the same size. And if you consider the footprint size, it's going to be pretty much the same size. So why we say that? Because these type of things, usually when you're just selecting things, you're just on the paper, you don't kind of realize that there are some trade-offs in that, and the trade-offs has to be clear, right? So with that, I just like to go with this. So is SMARC really for you? So if having a second source supply chain is important to your business, the answer is yes. You need SMARC. With SMARC, you're gonna gain flexibility. It's a standardized form factor across industry. And right now, we have you can have Toradex best-in-class solution. Basically, you can have SMARC that it receives all the care and attention that we put into other families. Sometimes we take a little bit longer time to launch products, but we are known for long-term availability and high quality. This is a thing that are important to us, and we take care of that on the every detail, right? So in the case that you're starting your development, you're going to start with something. Maybe you have some board or you have some carrier board, but maybe you're just starting out from scratch. At least the majority of our customers already know this type of things. But in case you don't know, we have this reference or development carrier boards, and they're really important. I really like them for some reasons. So they are considered reference design, which means that every block that we have in this carrier board is tested, and that's why it's in there. We do make this carrier board as an open source, so this means that you can download this like audio file, audio design files, and then you don't need to start from zero. You start from that, and also you can buy this one, and you can test in your bench. So your software engineer will start right away, maybe doing migrations, maybe starting from a piece of software that you already have it, but your hardware team won't start from zero. You can even copy the schematic. You have all the components in there, so the libs are going with that, which means that this significantly speeds up your development, like especially for teams migrating between platforms. This is quite important. And without mention that the end of life and life cycle and compliance things for each and every component we take care. And every time that we do updates, there is a place like a PCN document, and then you can see what's changing or what's not. In this case, it's quite easy for the customer that is starting their project to understand, hey, this is an important thing I have to take care in my carrier board, but usually you're going to suggest components and things for that. So aside this, all buttons and switches and all the points for measurement, these are quite important. Everyone who designed the board or is testing on the bench know how important it is, right?
And maybe I think you mentioned it just in the beginning here that if you have your own SMARC carrier board that you're already using, you would be able to use our module directly in that as well, right?
Yes, perfect. That's correct. So basically, if you already have a carrier board, what we have is some customers like to have the reference board as some sort of golden in the bench or to give to software engineers. But if you already have a carrier board, something that you have a ways for you to measure and do your applications, it's okay. You can use it. It will be suitable for you as well.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of SMARC, right? That you can take, in theory at least, any board and just plug it in.
Yeah, that's right. We showcase some of those examples at the last Embedded World in Germany. So basically, we had several boards, several carrier boards, and then we just tried our module and just taking from one board, putting in another, and you could see like booting without any software changes.
Wow, cool.
In this specific case, right? You always have to take into consideration software migration.
That's always the odd case, yes.
That's correct. What we offer is this Yocto project, Linux based, and we do have a Yocto base as well, but ready to use, already validated in our boards. That is the Horizon OS. So this gives you a really fast time to market because it's ready to use, production ready, and this is tested across all our modules. This is tested across our carrier boards. And with one thing that we offer together is the development tools. So some guys, due to the nature of SMARC being x86, we do have a lot of people using on Windows environment, and these we do have like a lot of templates for VS Code, so you can use that and keep using the same kind of setup you had in the past. and do your transition with a bit smooth transition for that. Not to mention the cloud with remote updates, secure offline updates, which gives you the possibility on the CRA, for example. One thing that Tim mentioned that are the regulations, and these are quite important, not denying that. But one thing that I always consider is that security is a topic, it's an important topic every place in the world. You know, everyone wants to produce your embedded system as secure as possible. So regarding the fines or the legislation, I know that every designer is like kind of worried with that and wants to make their embedded system as secure as possible. And
Yeah,
all this stack kind of facilitates that, because security is always a big complicated topic, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's not just about the regulation. It is just a general need to create secure systems. You're absolutely right.
Yep. With that, I go to this hardware migration. So I'm assuming that you kind of saw, you have your software, you understood how can you do migration here and there, your limitations, what you're going to do, or what you have to do, and then you have to evaluate your hardware migration. Usually this is seen as kind of the more difficult part, but indeed we do offer tools that can facilitate a lot if you're doing this migration, this transition. We have this Pinout designer guide, Pinout designer tool. We offer that in a web hosted version and also an offline version. And you can see that if you have one block diagram of your system, you can easily go to our website, download the tool or access the web version. And with your block diagram, you can test how much the compatibility is for you. And it's quite easy for you. Let me show you an example. This is a really nice example. So basically, this is a kind of a simple example that we have, and we see this example several times in real life. So a robotic platform that uses PCI, USB 0, one RS232, SPI, GPIOs, CAN, gigabit Ethernet. So let me stop this presentation and put in there. So
that's an exciting tool.
Yeah, this is super nice because you can use and you can evaluate not just the SMARC module, but you can see that all the modules are here, right? So you can go, for example, on Verding family, you can select one or many modules, and then you can select all the interfaces, and you can even go to the point where you select, for example, what are the pins for this each, and you can see and test for the compatibility. So how close I am to just insert the board and everything works. That's the kind of things. So in this example, it is using two cans. So the two interface cans are here, 0 and 1. You can see that both Ethernets 0 and 1 are here as well. The GPIOs, I ended up just selecting all these SMARC possibilities. So basically, there is the audio management pins plus the GPIOs. Here I have I2C, one LVDS, PCIe, SPI, one of these serials, and two USBs. So right now, it's really easy for you to see that pings not compatible 0, pings in conflict 0. So basically, I could say that if I get i.MX 810 plus and i.MX 9.5, I just can plug and play and everything's gonna work because the interfaces are there. They are not conflicting with anything. It's quite easy. But let's assume
So let me just understand that right. So what you're saying is that according to the SMARC standard, with the pinout that we are choosing here with this pin muxing, we will be compliant with the standard. There will be nothing missing, and there will be nothing where you have two functions on the same pin, so to say.
Yes, that's correct. That's perfect. Because although this is standard, one of the things I think it's worth mentioning is that SMARC has the standard and says all the shalls and shoulds and may. So the way they define the spec, this is also attached to what SOC I have in this module, because according to the SOC, this can be different. I can just, on top of my head, SATA interface is quite common on x86. You're not gonna find these type of interfaces in ARM systems. So this is the thing that you're not gonna find also here on these interface on the Pinout designer, because we do ARM system based. And then it's really interesting. So I will cause some conflicts here. So just for you to understand, in case you're using something different. For example, in case you're using DisplayPort. DisplayPort is an interface that we have on i.MX 95, but we do not have on SMARC i.MX 8M Plus. When you select that, it's not a conflict because the pins are there, but they are void in the case of i.MX 8. But in the case of i.MX 95, they are available and you can select them. In this case, you can see that if you put your carrier, it's using DisplayPort, it's of course not working. But you can choose, for example, HDMI. HDMI is one of the things that you do have in i.MX 8M Plus, but you do not have in SMARC i.MX 95. So that type of difference is speed up. Just you don't have to search across like tons of documents. Just get the block diagram, just get this tool, select all the things, and even you can just do a deep dive, for example, here, what for each pin, what is the number of the pin. So you just cross that with any carrier board you're using. So if you have your carrier board already, just cross that with that information. We can even export that in an Excel file for you, spreadsheet. With that, you're covered to know how compatible from hardware perspective you are, if you need modifications. Hopefully,
that's an excellent tool. That can be really helpful. I see that.
Yeah, I really like this tool. Particularly, I've used that in the past. It's really nice. And let me just go back here. For now, I think that would be it. And not sure how the questions are, team.
It looks good. There's a bunch of questions. So let's dig into it, Pedro. I'm going to try and be the moderator here. So first, is SMARC retro compatible? My carrier board has been made on 2.0 specification. Can I use Toradex SMARC? So
yes, the answer is yes. We received this question because we have this ongoing development, even from the standard perspective. You can see that if you made a carrier board that it's on 2.0, it work with our module, especially because the newer additions of features won't work, but your carrier is already on the 2.0, for example, so you won't miss any feature in this case.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. So second question that came in here, when does SMARC i.MX 95 hit general availability at scale?
Yeah, we working hard to make as quick as possible. This is probably down the road about 2 months. Next quarter, we're probably gonna roll out the SMARC i.MX 95 in general availability at scale, right?
Yeah, so I guess right now, yes, we can provide samples, but yes. It's not on the release silicon of NXP. They have not reached general availability yet, so it's also highly depending on that. But we do have the ability to sample customers. But general availability a bit further down the line.
Yes.
Good. Next question here. What was the decision to support DisplayPort versus HDMI on SMARC i.MX 95?
Yeah, HDMI and DisplayPort are always kind of how can I say, a debatable topic. Basically, HDMI on SMARC i.MX 8, this is native. So we tend, where it's not native, we tend to go to DisplayPort as of today. We see a trend going on DisplayPort. Majority of the customers really don't have a specific, how can I say, they don't demand specific reports. And the DisplayPort today, we see more like a trend, since some SOCs, some SoCs are not supporting natively the HDMI.
Yeah, that's also something about HDMI licensing, right?
Yeah, every time that you put a HDMI, there is a license associated. So it tends to be a little bit expensive for the same solution. People using embedded systems, they just want a quick and easy display output. So.
Okay, now there's a couple of questions which are all tending towards the same, which is, what's the long-term roadmap of the Toradex SMARC family? Is there a roadmap for future i.MX 9.3, 9.1 on SMARC from Toradex? And are there plans for i.MX 9.3? And furthermore, is there plans to bring out TI processors in Toradex SMARC? So,
a lot of questions. Do you address some of those, Tim?
So basically, I can take that one. So are we going to continue our SMARC family? Absolutely. We're committed to SMARC. We are going to bring out new products to it. We are going to listen to the market, to the vendors, to whatever comes out here. Some of the things mentioned here, 9.1, 9.3, which is typically or at least in one of the sizes, a pin compatible solution. We are heavily considering for multiple form factors in Toradex. It's very unlikely we are not going to bring it out on one or more form factors, and it's in the final decision criteria at the moment where to put it out and where to start. Most likely we'll start on one form factor and then, depending on customer feedback, transfer it to more of our form factors. So it's highly likely that it's going to be a yes. When we're talking about TI processors, as some of you who have been following Toradex, we have engaged quite heavily with TI over the last couple of years on both the Citara family with the 6.2 and the 6.2, the 6.2P, but also the AIM-6.9 for the real high end. So are we going to put some of that on SMARC? Again, yes, it's highly likely that we will. And here we are also working with some lead customers and looking at what we can do there. So I'm sorry to be political and not give a very definitive answer, but watch this space and there will be coming some news on that. Good. Then next one, which is also a little bit on the roadmap, and maybe you can answer that, Pedro. Will Toradex also do x86-based SMARC products?
Yeah, we do see some customers using SMARC x86, but we believe that the trending is the opposite direction. So basically, we see transition from x86 to ARM, and we are almost like ARM-based module company. So in this sense, we do not plan to have x86 as of today.
Yeah, and I would agree on your statement there that we are seeing more of a trend moving from x86 to ARM than the other way. So absolutely. Cool. An interesting question here. Is SMARC development board from Toradex available currently? If not, when will it be available?
Yep, we are working on that. I think if it's not, I don't think it's available right now, but it will be in a month or two. We are just finalizing some stuff and validate it. As I said during the presentation, we took a lot of care in this dev board because this is a reference. So as soon as we release, customer can and will use this all the circuitry as reference design. So we take a lot of care before releasing that, and that's why we release all the modules a bit earlier than that, but it will be in a month.
Yeah, I would actually be cautiously more optimistic than you there. I think we are just finishing the validation as we speak, so it should only be a matter of a few weeks as I see it. Good. How can I determine if one of your other SOM families, whether optimized for cost, size, or performance, would be a better fit for my product?
That's a nice one. Basically, as I said, as I showed on the Pinout designer, everything starts, of course, with a good block diagram from your side. So customers usually are advised to have a well-described block diagram of their system. These will prevent a lot of small and simple mistakes. With that, you can just insert everything into this Pinout designer tool. And then you can evaluate what would be like your compromises. You always have to do compromises here and there. And the interesting part is that you have to evaluate for size, cost, footprint in the carrier board itself, and judging by the performance. We do have the several options for you, and we do have several carrier boards that you can evaluate. So if you have any questions more than that the Pinout cannot serve you, we are available to talk. So just give us a call.
Cool. Thank you. So let me just scan here. Yeah, if I look for a memory configuration and processor combination currently not offered as a standard variant, what is the MOQ, NRE, etc. to get a custom assembly variant? And I think we talked about that earlier, if I'm okay to answer that one, Pedro. So we do have what we call our CTO, so customized to order, and that is something where we are always available to talk about the conditions there. Of course, if you're the only customer in the world, there will be an MOQ available, typically not an NRE, and that's something which we are also getting significantly more flexible on than we used to be as Toradex. There are some requirements, but in general, it's not something which is very huge. So we're very open to talk, also because often we see what one customer wants is also what others would like. So it's something that we typically can combine together. So come talk to us, we'll find good solutions there. Another question that we just got in here, is there a plan to offer a list of tested third-party SMARC carrier boards that are more targeted to edge deployment? And here, Pedro, I think it would be good to talk about both that, but also a little bit on our availability to give more targeted carrier boards to customers via our solution offering.
Yes, but just on the list of third party, I think it's a bit hard, because since this is quite outside our control, anything that we say that is, how can I say, if we say that this is validated, they can change the board itself, and then we can lose control of this type of things. What we do have, it's making sure that we comply with the SMARC spec as much as possible, and we let really clear statements when the thing is a bit different in our documentation, which means that if you get other boards or your own carrier boards, and those carrier kind of follow also the SMARC spec, you're probably going to be safe with these two being SMARC compliance.
Yeah, and then the second side of that is that Toradex today is also offering custom carrier boards for your specific application. We typically also have not only custom carrier boards that is fully to your spec, we also have some volume carrier boards that are more designed for edge deployment in volume. We don't have that today right now on SMARC, but it's something where we would like to take inputs on the requirements because we are planning also for more carrier boards in the SMARC family. So that's something which would be interesting to have a dialogue on. What is the requirements that you're seeing? And then we can have a discussion on that, where it would not be customized for you only, but customized for general edge deployment. So that's, I hope, a good answer to that one. With that, I think we are out of questions. We are also approaching the top of the hour. We have 9 minutes left. Let's just give it a few more seconds to see if there's more questions coming in. Other than that, Pedro, I thought it was a really good dialogue and good conversation here. So what did you think?
Yeah, really nice conversation. It's always nice to understand, and especially those questions, for example, on these carrier board things. This is quite important for us, quite insightful. Please let us know if you have any other details on those carrier boards that you need. I got quite curious, actually.
Cool. So good. So it seems like there's no more questions coming. So from my side, I'm really just going to say thank you so much for your attention today. Thanks for joining this webinar. We are here. Reach out to us. We are always available in all regions. So just let us know to one of our local offices, or feel free to reach out to myself or Pedro directly. So thanks for that, all of you. Pedro, any last words from your side?
Oh, that's it. Also, just thank you to everyone. Really important for us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.